September 9th, 2021 Town Board meeting to order, and if you would, please rise. I pledge allegiance. We're missing one board member. Mr. Ballesteri is a member of Brunswick One Volunteer Fire Company, and he's in the middle of fighting a fire down the road. Pretty big fire. I thought it was Ace Hardware at first, but it's the building next to it. But everybody's there from Melrose and all over the place. So the guys are working tonight. So Mr. Bradley, my water guy's down there too, and Chuck. Okay, at this point, I'll open the meeting to the public. Matt, you got something to say? Come on.
Change his mind.
Come on up and address the board.
Start from scratch.
All right, hello again. My name is Matt May. I'm at 20 Winfield Lane, Troy, New York. I was just calling. I was coming today to talk to you guys about some drainage problems that's stemming from the road, I believe, and the
Hey, Matt,
size of the
can you
manhole
speak?
covers.
Can you speak into that mic? Pull it
Yep.
down to you.
Drop my papers here.
Yeah, we're not picking you up here. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So I was talking about the drainage that's coming down the road and it's affecting my driveway. So I live at the end of a cul-de-sac and it's halfway on the hill on Winfield Lane. And what's happening is the storm water, anytime it rains, not just huge storms, but when we get a good amount of rain, 10, 15 minutes, it comes down the road. It's not going into the culverts, the drain pipes. It's coming straight down and it's overwhelming the one drain that's at the bottom of the cul-de-sac. And then if the water rises up, it's about 6 inches to where the lip is, where the cul-de-sac edge is on the side, and it just shoots down the driveway, and just washes my driveway out. And this has happened about 5 times, which I had to rent an excavator, get the crusher run delivered, redo it, and then now my only option is sandbagging it. So when I know it's going to rain, I got to put sandbags at the top of the driveway. I didn't know if there's anything that can be done. Have somebody from the highway department. We moved in 2017. Not too long after that, I talked to Mr. Eddy. Mr. Eddy said, that's what you get for living on the bottom of the hill. And then said, check back in a couple of weeks. Obviously, he's retiring. Mr. Hill came on board. He went out of disability soon after that, but I had an email chain going with him addressing it, saying, can you have somebody come out and take a look? I don't think anybody ever came out. I did see a vacuum truck at the top just taking a look, but it's not clogged. It's just the amount of water that's coming down that hill in the small little drain is just, I have pictures to show you if you wanted to take a look to see what I'm talking about. But, and then the road itself is just deteriorating. It's just crumbling apart, and all of the crumbles from the asphalt is coming, washing down in the road too, and just piling up in the circle in the cul-de-sac. It just sits there. And what happens is you get another rain, it slides over to where the manhole cover is and just builds up. So but I know we're getting rain, I got to go all the way up the road and try to clear up all the manhole covers. And that's not my job. But I got to do it because I want to protect my driveway. So this is what's happening. You can see that.
Yeah, wow.
So it's coming down here,
You can hand them if you want to when we get done.
but it's coming down the hill and just building up to a point to get to that lip, and then just comes down and washes everything out. And that's the aftermath normally.
Could you hand me those,
Yeah,
please?
I got a bunch of them. Since 2017, but I didn't print them off to conserve some ink.
No, it's fine. Hey, Matt, you're getting away from the mic too.
Okay. So that's really what my main concern was, just seeing if somebody from the highway department, I've been calling for the new superintendent. I spoke to him. He said he'll look into it. I haven't heard anything back. I leave voicemails. I haven't heard anything back. So that's why I'm here, just to see if somebody can poke the bear a little bit and maybe get somebody out there to take a look. Because what I think's happening is too is that one drain in front of the guardrail drains out directly onto my driveway next to it. But the other manhole, the catch basins that are up the hill further, I think there's 3 or 4 of them. They drain out down into the woods. So I don't understand why they wouldn't just tap in and have it all going into one thing.
Can you see where that pipe goes to daylight when it goes down past your driveway?
Yes. Yep.
And is there any indication of it being full? I went down to look at it, when,
Down the one that
Lisa
empties
alerted
out into the woods.
can you tell if that's the one that empties your catch basin?
No, that is not the one.
It's
Because I
definitely not the
put
one.
dye in some of the water to see where it goes, and it comes out literally. It's just right in the grass, right next to my driveway.
From
Which
your
some of the
catch basin?
pictures you'll see, there's the pipe's exposed now. The pipe that's exposed in the pictures, that's what's draining out from the rest of
From uphill.
from uphill. The one that's in the cul-de-sac drains out directly to the left of my driveway.
You
and it-
can see that.
I can
over
see it.
daylight And not clogged, it
No,
doesn't appear to be clogged.
no,
Just not big enough?
there's no pipe there. So it's just coming right out onto the rocks. I don't know if when the pictures come by, you'll be able to see it, but.
So I
So,
went down and looked there and I didn't want to go down in the driveway and go over in there, but I couldn't tell.
yeah, for
You know, it
some
looked like
reason
there was a
it's,
pipe going out, but I just couldn't tell if it would flow anything. But Terry went up to look. I met him at another problem site. I didn't go with him. I followed him up to make sure he was heading in there, and he was heading in to have a look, but he hasn't gotten back with you.
no, I left voicemail this past week and the week prior.
I will tell you right now that I will be up there personally with our highway superintendent this coming week.
Thank you.
I mean, they're pretty busy with paving and stuff, but we will pay a visit,
Okay,
okay?
just to give me some type of solution
Well,
or,
we're gonna take a look anyway.
Okay.
And see, I know Rome's not gonna be built in a day, but we
Right.
gotta start at some point and take a look and see what's what. Whether the, catch basin is plugged or what. You've been up there, Ed?
Terry hasn't shared that with me.
Okay. All right. We'll
But-
take a look.
yeah, thank you for your time.
Oh, Matt, that's one thing we need to figure out. If our highway guy is following up, he needs to get back to the homeowner. So we'll make sure that happens. But as you know, I'm familiar with that location too.
Yes,
You had that 4-wheeler accident that was up there
that was on our property.
on your property.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot with that big hill that comes
Sure
down. But we have another resource too. We have Wayne Bonesteel who does some he's an engineer, but he helps with the planning board. He's pretty good. So maybe Gordy can hook up with him. Gordy's a deputy town supervisor, but he's also oversees the highway department. And
I'll
maybe
get a hold of Wayne.
we'll get Wayne there because I mean, he's more of a professional than we are, but
Right.
it's a tough spot, but you know
And I
that.
do believe there's 3 more houses going in fairly soon up there too.
Is that
So
right?
I don't know if, I know there's been interest. There's the
Yeah, wow.
people to the next, right to the left of me, there's 2 lots.
Yeah.
And the gentlemen were over there walking the property saying they intend to build fairly soon. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
if the road,
With all this rain we've been having and all this heavy stuff,
Been a tough year.
I feel for you a little bit because that's a tough spot. So
so thank you.
we will follow up. I promise you that. So anybody else at this point? Come on up.
This is kind of like beating the dead horse, but I live next to Mike. My name's Jason Laird. I live at 4 Winfield Lane.
Oh, okay.
What's the last name, Jason? I'm sorry.
Laird, Laird.
Thank you.
Again, I'm not complaining, just kind of bringing it
That's
out there
okay to
that
complain.
Our, the road needs some attention.
Yeah.
We've got cracks that run all the way across the road that are at least 2 inches wide and at least 2 inches deep in large sections of the road. I know they patched it 2 years ago, and then they tried to patch it again this year, but it's going to happen exactly what happened last year. The plow's going to run over it. It's going to rip up the entire patch, and we're going to be right back to where we were last year or 2 years ago. notice another issue is that the culverts, the drain culverts never get cleaned out, and they're all covered in grass, which is probably half of the problem with the drainage down the hill. Because most of the water never goes into them. It just hits the grass that's growing on the outside and runs right around it. And you can see that at the very bottom of the hill. You can see the bottom culvert that was repaired last summer. They put a little bit of concrete patch in there, but they put it up just a little bit too high. And so when the water comes down the hill, it goes right along the concrete patch and runs right down the road and misses the other culvert on the other side of the road completely.
That's not good, huh?
So, I know you said you guys are coming up to take a look at it. Really appreciate it. I know that there's a lot of things going on and things being the way they are, but we also have big patches of grass growing in the middle of the street.
No, that's not, that's a nice wide road too, so.
Yeah. So,
All right,
thank you very much for your time.
thank you for coming. Anybody else at this point? We have public access also at the end. If you think of something as we go through, there'll be another opportunity. Reverend, how are you?
Hi, I'm Jim Houlihan, 106 Brunswick Road, and I actually came to go to the zoning meeting, for which I was late, so that's on me. But since I'm here, first I'd like to thank Gordy Christian for attending to the pothole on my street, which I had inquired about. You probably feel a lot of complaints, but once in a while, I think we need to express gratitude. Thank you for attending to that. And also, I'll take this opportunity to mention that I did write an article sometime back in the Times Union with regard to a person holding a homeless sign outside of the strip mall and expressing concern for what is or is not available as a community resource to assist such person. So I do want to acknowledge that Phil Harrington did come to my home after my making inquiry and had conversations. So I want to acknowledge that and thank you for that. But I also like to follow up and see where things have gone since that time. To my mind, and I'm not laying this on the town of Brunswick, but a sign which says no soliciting, no panhandling, no loitering does not solve the problem. And I'm curious to know if you have uncovered any further need with regard to such homeless persons, or if in fact we have community resources besides the sheriff who could address such a problem.
As Jim mentioned, he did voice his concern about the homeless people, lady, whatever, on that location. And after he sent a letter, a sign quickly went up, said, no loitering. So I understand the confusion. He thought we went down as a town and solved the problem that way. And I stopped to his home to explain that was not the case, although the timing. That was a plaza that's owned by the Nigros. I happened to be going to the bank that day when they're putting the sign up, honest. And it was a property gentleman, they just hired a property maintenance person. And I know him too. Kid used to work on a farm. But so I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, we've got a lot of complaints, and Nigro owns a lot of property, owns a place over in Latham and East Greenbush and all over the place. And this is happening all over. And we're putting these signs up on all our property. So that's private property down there. And that's on his property. It's nothing to do with the town. I did contact the county, and they do have a lot of programs for people in need. And the lady was going to stop and talk to the woman. In the meantime, she lived in Sugar Hill and she moved. So to answer your question, I haven't heard any more. I do know on the other corner, there's a gentleman sometimes. But I know the county has all kinds of programs, but that's kind of where we left off, so now I'm getting complaints about the way it looks out there in front, because CDTA used to go in there, and I don't think they are now. Now they're picking them up on Route 7, and people are leaving garbage and they're leaving shopping carts. So I contacted CDTA and asked them to please go back in the plaza because I'm concerned about the people walking across Hoosick Street with their shopping carts. There's also concern about leaving, not unsightly, but the danger, terrible. They said they would reconsider that, so I don't know if they're going back in the plaza or not, so.
Well, let me ask, does the town of Brunswick have a policy with regard to such persons?
To what, Jim?
With regard to handling people who hold signs in public places?
I don't believe we have any policies or.
There's nothing that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Do people have a right to stand on a traffic island and hold a sign?
I would think so.
In spite of the existing sign that says no loitering?
Oh, that I don't know.
That's private property.
Jim.
They can do.
The Nigro owns that, that's his property.
What about the traffic island?
No, he can stand in the road if he wants to, that's,
Uh,
public domain, if you want to stand out alongside the road, I suppose you could, as long as you're not encroaching on somebody's personal property.
I don't know if the state is.
Thank you.
I know John Gavin, the real landscaper, did stop and talk to that gentleman who's on the other corner, Jim and McChesney. He stopped one day and said, listen, do you need a job? I see you here. I can't find help landscaping. I'll take you with me today, tomorrow. I'll bring you back here and drop you off. I need help. And he said, ooh, I got a bad back. I can't work. So I know Mr. Gavin did stop. And he'll tell you that, John, he said, I wasn't being wise. I need help. I really do. And I thought maybe he's kind of a big guy. I thought maybe he could do some physical work, but he says, no, I'm disabled. So if he's disabled, I don't know if he's getting disability but the county, I said, they have a lot of resources to help people, so. Anybody else at this point? Paul, come on up. Oh, you don't need to be quick. That's good.
You may be way ahead of me already. So, Paul Bueller, 1454 Route 7. Last time I attended back in July, we talked about who to talk to at the Department of Transportation, and I lost my contact and we didn't know who to reach out to about the traffic on Route 7. And because none of us knew who to reach out to, I wrote a letter to the Director Barnes, I think it was, of the Region 1, so our region, and really focusing on not so much the volume, because that's not, we can't control the volume, but the flow, which the gridlock and getting stuck in intersections. So I sent him the letter on July 19th. I didn't hear back until August 20th, and then I forwarded a copy of the letter.
Yep.
I think it did.
Yep.
To you all. And that was, I think, a Mr. Rice, who was the planning and program manager for DOT. He basically said that they're willing to work with us, not really do anything other than meet right now. But he said in the letter, it said New York State Department of Transportation would welcome the opportunity to discuss potential opportunities going forward for the corridor with residents, stakeholders, and other municipal partners. The rest of the letter goes on to talk about the need for a partnership between the town and the city and the department to really focus on a comprehensive land use strategy for altogether. And really, I'm kind of like a dog with a bone with this, because I've lived in areas where the flow didn't get addressed, and we ended up not being able to remain where I lived because it took a 2-mile stretch of road, took almost an hour to get through. And of course, they went in after I moved and fixed it, but that's another story. So I really think that, and right now what I'm noticing is the traffic flow issue on Route 7 is impacting, as you mentioned, I think before, Route 2, 142, 287. And I think, one of the things that's driving a lot of this for me is it's starting to really impact the quality of life sitting in our cars for longer and longer. And I really think that if we can come together with these other partners, we may make some progress. I'm willing to do whatever that would be helpful, that you all think would be helpful, to make it happen. And I mean, one of the things that I was looking at some data, and of course, the U.S. loses about $87 billion a year in business revenue and lost productivity to poor traffic flow and congestion. So I just don't want to join those statistics. And as I mentioned, this is really a quality of life issue, and it's an issue affecting or soon to affect business revenue. So I'm respectfully requesting that the board reach out to Mr. Rice, or that I can reach out to him, or some way that we can start these conversations and see what we can do. I know you all hear a lot of complaints all the time, but I truly believe that if we work together, we can get ahead of this. And again, I'm willing to be part of any solution. So a sign away.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Paul, just to mention, that letter that you got, that was sent, communicating with DOT is not a new thing for us, as you know, as I mentioned. We've had numerous meetings with them. And if you read the letter, which I have here, says in the letter that DOT says things are difficult without a partnership involving municipal fiscal support. Now, what this means is we've met with them, and what DOT is, and Tom can correct me if I'm getting off the edge here, but what DOT was telling us when these developers come to town, if you want any improvements on Route 7 or a state road, the developers should be willing to escrow money to pay for improving the road. And I believe when I start talking to the developers, they're telling me that that's not really legal. You can't hold us hostage. That's a state road paid by all of the taxpayers with their state budget. And just because we want to come in as a business, you want us to go out and pave the road and widen the road. The lawyers quickly tell me, easy now, can't do that. But they're still putting it in their letter that they sent you. It sounds good, but they're saying, we need fiscal support from the municipalities, And then when I said to them, I don't believe this is legal, they said, well, you can strongly suggest it. So they want me to say, oh, you can't build this store without helping Route 7. I mean, I'll get locked up, So, I mean, I understand what they're saying. So what I did do as a board, as you know, I mentioned many times, I was concerned, or we are concerned, the entrance to Price Chopper by the Taco Bell and credit union narrows. I said you come up through and they got to turn, and then all of a sudden that narrows right there. And then once you get beyond, it widens back out again, and the road, and people would go to McChesney in the apartments, or they go up to Walmart. And it seems like once you get to Walmart, the traffic seems to flow. So that's a bottleneck. So I asked the state many years and many times, can you just widen that? It's not a big area to widen. It really isn't. And they said, we don't own the property. It's owned by the people who own the plaza, but not the plaza, but the front, the section. There was a house there, business there. We can't do it. Sorry, Mr. Harrington. Sorry, Mr. Supervisor. So what happened is Nigro bought that lot out in front. And I said, I know I'm not asking for money. I'm not doing that. But the state, I think, would help this flow right there if they would widen the road. And I said, let me ask you this. Would you donate to the state a strip of land through there? So eventually, if we can figure out how to get the money from the state or whatever, at least we got the land. And the developers did do that. They did give a strip of land right there. And they did that as part when they were working with the Taco Bell. So now, and deeded to the state. So now the state has enough width there to put another lane in. So that's a big plus. Now we just got to figure out how to get them to do it. Now that's going to solve all the problems, but it's a concern. So But you're right. I mean, they want to talk, but they're still talking fiscal. So listen, it's okay to have you like a dog with a bone because that's what we need here. And I'm not going to forget that because I think maybe we better have another meeting with these guys and see if they're still talking, you know. All right. And I will include you. I promise you. So anybody else at this point? Like I said, we got public access at the end. So we can go right into the business right now. So minutes of the previous meeting.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Lewis, town clerk report.
Okay. Month of August, be remitting $9,570.83. 6,202 was through recycling sales, the bags and all of that. $1,700, well, $1,750 in rental fees. We had 11 community center reservations and one last pavilion one before the beach closed. $501 in dog licenses. We had 11 new residents along those lines and 65 were renewed. And there was $1,116 in miscellaneous fees. That was $582 in vital statistics, $234 DEC licensing, because now that we're doing the hunting licenses, at least people are coming in. And of course, that's a cut of about $1,700 in sales. So, and $300 in peddler permits. Like I said, hunting licenses are on sale, fishing, hunting, it's going well. We're starting to contact people and have them contact us, Board of Elections, any of the political parties for election inspectors. There's always a need. Anybody that's interested or has before and wants to again, you can call us. We could refer you to the Board of Election. They're looking for people there, or contact them down at the county building. And that's about it.
Thanks, Bill.
Welcome.
Make a motion to approve this report?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Highway Department, Mr. O'Donnell, Deputy Highway Superintendent.
The monthly report for August. We patched the road 6 days, hauled brush to the landfill 3 days, hauled cardboard 2 days, picked up brush along the road 5 days, mowed sides of the road 6 days, picked up bags 5 days, mowed the ballpark 7 days, ditched roads, replaced pipes 3 days, hauled leaves to the landfill 2 days, shared services with Grafton 2 days, paved Crescent Lane and Lang Road, reset the pipe on Smith Hill, and shared services with Rensselaer County.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Entertain a motion for Ed's report.
I'll make this motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Bradley is at the fire scene. I called him and asked him to go down there because, like I said, a pretty big fire, and Bill knows the systems and knows what hydrants to hit, so on and so forth. So that's where he is. Mr. Golden, or Code Enforcer, he's the same location. They called him for safety inspection. So, Mr. Chaffee, Tom's with us tonight.
I'm here. This past month, I've been participating in weekly meetings with a group of town officials and our zoning consultant pertaining to formulating proposed amendments to our current zoning law for consideration by the town board on a wide variety of issues, as well as more specific consideration as to whether amendments are needed as regards our regulations pertaining to multifamily and two-family dwellings. You'll remember that we had a public hearing on that tonight. I also conducted reviews and participated in discussions pertaining to the preparation of a final revised and updated collective bargaining agreement with CSEA pertaining to our unionized employees. As you know, a tentative agreement was reached with CSEA back in May, but the actual document has yet to be finalized. I've been working with the supervisor's office on a significant purchasing issue. Regular meetings and document review are ongoing. I've been working with the building department on a variety of enforcement actions and other matters which are also ongoing. Working with the town clerk's office on a freedom of information matter. Been working with the supervisor's office and the town's insurance carrier pertaining to a potential claim being asserted against the town. I performed legal research for town officials as needed on a variety of issues, and I provided legal opinions to various town officials also on a variety of issues.
Thank you, sir. I'll make a motion to approve Tom's report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town historian, Sharon? How's Sharon tonight?
Well, I wasn't able to print my report because the Wi-Fi, Spectrum Wi-Fi was off and on all afternoon. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem, but I think that service has just really deteriorated this past summer. And I'm tracking 18 hours that I sat at computers during the last few weeks, about 4.5 weeks, and the little message is saying Wi-Fi connected, Wi-Fi disconnected. So I have, next month, maybe I'll have a solution to that. Maybe I'll be forming a committee to do something about it. Consumer reports, if you can go to the library and access, I think it was the July issue of Consumer Reports, there's a big article about that. Anyway, I've turned off my thing. Okay, so I've got to read my report for September the 9th. And I have been starting every report, and I will get this to Bill later, with a little bit of an update about COVID for the sake of future generations. So this month, while COVID still rages in many parts of our country, primarily in southern and midwestern states, we in Rensselaer County have experienced a lower number of positive COVID tests in several of our neighboring counties, such as Albany and Saratoga. Yesterday, Rensselaer County tested 12,738 individuals with 2.44% revealing positive results. Several local retailers have posted signs indicating mask wearing will be appreciated, and many Brunswickers have indicated an interest and willingness in getting a COVID booster shot once available. My activities this past month, I did about 48 hours worth of different types of research, and in one respect, I assisted the Brunswick Historical Society with materials and information for a new exhibit. And this exhibit will be open to the public on Saturday, July 11th, when the society hosts its annual tag and bake sale from 9 to 3 at the Garfield School in Eagle Mills. An interesting item that I loaned from our town archives is a late 1800s undertaker's record journal that belonged to John and Henrietta Miller. Any relationship, Jim? Yeah. And they operated a funeral home in Eagle Mills. And pages from this journal will be displayed along with many artifacts from the Society's collection. If you go and stop by, and the exhibit will be available beyond this coming Saturday. It was interesting that in the 1890s, people had a choice of embalming or icing a body. You know, that one kind of shocked the Gales. So it's important to recognize that our local historical societies, this is my annual ad for the Historical Society, our local historical societies collection is dependent on the contribution of artifacts and information and images that originated with our local families and organizations, and contributions of those materials from folks here in the community from any period will always be considered by the Historical Society. For many years, I've occasionally assisted a gentleman who serves as a historian for the New York State's 169th Regiment with his research into the lives of Civil War soldiers from this local area. And last month, he and I began a quest to identify which member of the Ensign family for which the Cropseyville GAR post was named. Now, GAR was an organization that was formed after the Civil War to help veterans adjust to whatever problems they might have, provide social opportunities, push for legislation to help the veterans. And they've pretty much died out now with the passing of most Civil War veterans. But we had the Henry Ensign Post in Cropseyville, and we've also now come up with the fact that it was called the Henry A. Ensign Post. So this gentleman who actually will be submitting all his research to the Military Museum in Saratoga eventually, asked, well, which ensign was it and what was his service. We found two ensigns. One was a gentleman born around 1876 who served in the War of 1812, but was probably too old to serve in the Civil War. That ensign owned a big farm just down the road, which is now the land on which Placid Stables and the surrounding homes was founded. We don't think it was that gentleman, but he did have a grandson named Henry Augustus. So this might be the candidate. And he never really lived in Brunswick. He lived in Lansingburg, and he ended up spending the final years of his life in Saratoga County. He was a musician with the 169th Regiment, and he also played in some local marching bands after the Civil War. So there is an organization called the, let me get it straight here in case anyone's interested in the Civil War. The Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War is a not-for-profit group which collects and compiles information on GAR chapters. They have been given the right to maintain the records from any GAR that happens to go belly up and pass the records on to them. And all they have on Cropseyville is that it was the Henry A. Ensign GAR post number 658. So we're still debating this, which ensign. So that's was kind of different. It's been a while since I've done any Civil War research, and if anyone here in the crowd may be a descendant of an ensign, and you may find that you have some information to share on that, I'd love to see it. The Brunswick Historical Society will join me in presenting our annual walking tour of Forest Park Cemetery on Saturday, October 23rd at 1 p.m. We did not conduct our tour last year due to the pandemic, but the year before that, we had 500 people show up. And this year, we are asking that people call the Historical Society and indicate an interest. We're not going to confirm reservations. We're not going to deny admission to anyone who shows up without having called for a reservation. We're just trying to get an idea how many people might be interested in attending. It will be a rain or shine event, and we just don't want to run out of programs or parking like we did the last time. So historians, we kind of look back sometimes more than we look ahead. We get melancholy and sentimental about a lot of things. And this Saturday, September 11th, is more than the Historical Society's annual tag and bake sale. It is, if you've been paying attention to the news, the 20th anniversary of the tragedy that struck our nation in 2001. It's hard to believe it's 20 years. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been poking around YouTube and the internet and looking at some of the tributes that have been posted. I didn't see too much from this locality. We did, a couple weeks after September 11th in 2001, we did have a service at our community center. And we had Carolyn Abrams arrange that with the local singer Bridget Balshaw. And that was a nice tribute. We did later, after our Veterans Park opened in Eagle Mills, we had a couple of things there. But I guess with the passage of time, these things don't always get done. And they do take a lot of volunteer energy. So I would just ask that you take a few minutes to remember, explore some of the things that are on the internet, especially YouTube. I saw a wonderful program last night called Memory Box, which was on MSNBC. Took about an hour and a half, and it was a a very interesting documentary that was created strictly with the help of people who volunteered to come in not just once, but twice in the 20 years to give their reactions. There were people who had been at the Trade Center. There were people who had been observers on the streets. There were, of course, firemen. And I know here locally, we had firefighters go to Ground Zero to help out. It means something to me. I grew up in Orange County, New York, which is now part of New York City's, it's considered a suburb of New York City. It was all farm country, a lot like Brunswick. When I was growing up, I went to a school in Montgomery, New York that was becoming a centralized district, new school building, just about the same time Tamarack opened up here. So I've always felt very familiar with Brunswick's history. One of my classmates, Dan, from Colinham, New York, was one of the victims lost at the World Trade Center. He was employed by Cantor Fitzgerald, which lost a huge number of employees, not just him, but also his son, who had gone to work there. And in the 5 or 6 years after the event, visiting people in my hometown, Orange County became a big population center for police and firemen in particular, because of their work schedules, 4 days on, so many days off, to commute to those jobs from Orange County. Every time I talked to someone, a family member, an old friend, I learned, another person from that area had died at the Trade Center, and a couple were badly injured in the course of volunteering as firemen to go to Ground Zero. So I think it's time we just all take a chance to look back. There's been 3 times in my life where I was like glued to the TV for 2 days. I'm not a big TV watcher. The first one was Kennedy's assassination. The second one was, they're not happy events. The second one was 9/11. And the third one was this past January 6th. So these are the things sometimes we remember. We shouldn't really say we're celebrating them, but I think they're important in our history. I think they do shape who we are. And if you have a young person in your family who is too young to remember or wasn't even born, this might be a chance to sit down with those folks and let them know what happens in this world. So thank you all.
Thanks, Sharon. Entertain a motion to approve Sharon's report. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Tom, recycling coordinator. How are you, Mr. Inkster?
Good evening. Well, recycling report for August 2021. Blue bags purchased at the center, we had 587 at $3 for $1,716. Blue bags purchased from vendors, 800 for $2,040. Purple bags purchased at the center, 103 at $2 for $206. Mixed newspapers and chipboards, 4.36 tons at $35 a ton for $152. Bale corrugated, 6.27 tons at $80 a ton for $501. Commingled glass, plastic, and tin, 6.36 tons at no charge. Car batteries, 0.92 tons at 95 cents a pound for $422. And that gave us revenues of $5,774. General expenses, refuse landfill, 18.31 tons at $69 a ton for $1,677. Electronics recycled, 2.75 tons with special handling on the CRTs at 35 cents a pound for $550. A refrigerant removed on 55 units for $171. Household batteries, 0.665 tons at 95 cents a pound for $1,262. And that gave our expenses $3,660. The total amount recycled in landfill for the month of August was 44.48 tons.
Thank you, sir. Entertain a motion for Tom's report?
I'll make it.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Brunswick Community Library. Martha, come on up. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good evening, Martha Angady, President, Board of Trustees for the library. Sarah asked me to give her report tonight. In the month of August, I'll sum it up. Library services, we had 1,598 walk-in visitors, which I believe is close to the 2019 numbers. We had 117 distinct clients that used the Wi-Fi, and that's about 13 people per day. And although we can complain about when it doesn't work, this does point out that we do take it for granted, and there are people who don't have it and use the library for the Wi-Fi. Checkout statistics, combined physical and digital. There was 5,790 checkouts, of which more than half were still physical hardcover books. Program statistics, 5 people attended book club, 220 attended story time, 41 attended bridge club, which is usually the day I stop in, and it's kind of heartwarming to see them all in the new area around tables playing bridge. 100 people received STEAM kits, 18 people attended the paper making class, and 8 people attended the homeschool club. Events of note in August I can't see you with my cheaters on. And August 14th, there was Medieval Day at the library, which was hosted by the Society of Creative Anachronism, which was attended by 80 people. Very lively, not quite as loud as the Civil War enactment. August also saw the wrapping up of the summer reading program, which included 9 weeks of STEAM activities and 18 story times, of which one was a farmer with small animals. Upcoming events, we're very excited. On September 25th, we're going to have a Fall Fest, which is a Saturday running from 3 to 7. Of interest, it will be a dieter's nightmare. We're going to have multiple food trucks, including Mud Daddy Flats, Mr. Dingaling, which is really a Mrs. Dingaling, I was corrected, Upstate Cookie Shack, Living the Dream food truck, and donuts from Engels Acres. We will also have fire trucks and small animals for the children, as well as a book sale. Hopefully, many of our local politicians and business owners will attend. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge and thank the town of Brunswick, and especially Pat Polito, for continuing to have the summer concert series. It was wonderful, well attended, and from a purely selfish point of view, because we can now do the 50/50s again, the library was able to benefit from having been able to run 4 of them because the fire department pulled out last Tuesday. And I believe we were able to net about $1,200, which will
nice.
greatly help our programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve Martha's report.
I'll make it.
Can I have a second? Mark, all in favor? Okay, resolutions.
Okay. Put away some papers here.
Tom, first, what about this introductory local law?
You want to do that
introduce-
first?
Want to do that first?
Well, we have a resolution.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
okay,
resolution,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
That's not the first one. Well, take them in order.
I got a stack of paper here. You guys go ahead. So,
Calm down.
Okay. That'll actually be the last one, then we can discuss.
All
it a
right,
little bit.
okay. I'm with you.
All right, so resolutions. Resolution number 55 for 2021 is resolution authorizing purchase of equipment for Town of Brunswick Highway Department.
I'd like to make a few comments on that.
Mhm.
This equipment that we're buying, many of you know that all of our trucks, tractors, whatever, all have two-way communication systems in there. The stuff that we have in there is currently about 30 years old. We've been calling, well, it used to be Wells Communication, now it's Bearcom. They would constantly come to try to keep this stuff up and running. However, parts are no longer available for 30-year-old pieces, and we've been cannibalizing other equipment to keep this stuff going. So it's finally gotten to an end where it actually presents a safety issue with not being able to keep our trucks in contact with each other. One truck is out, a snowplow is out and ends up in a ditch or other. They have to be able to communicate with each other. They get out on paving roads and things like that, that big trucks are coming in full of asphalt and stuff, they have to be able to communicate with each other. So as a result, I've decided that we need to have more up-to-date equipment. So I put it out for, actually, I didn't even have to go out for bid because it was already bid on the New York State bid sheet. So we've ordered stuff. Wells Communication was our one of the only local guys that dealt with this kind of stuff, which is now owned by Bearcom Communications. I sat down with their salesperson and went over this stuff and put the bid in. And actually, they actually came in a little bit under what the state bid was. So we saved a little bit there. Now, I think we were gonna pay for this stuff out of our recovery money, Phil, and some of that money that we got on our recovery money that went into the general fund we'll use to pay for this stuff. Is that the way we're going with that? Is that?
Well, with some of the recovery COVID money, it was decided that we could use some of it for lost income, money that we didn't receive because of COVID. And we got about 330,000 that we figured was justified. So that money goes in a general fund that we can use. So that was a big help. So that was going to be my suggestion. Instead of hitting the budget, we could use that to purchase these radios. So
Anyway, that's about it in a nutshell. It's all about communication, you know.
the reason we're talking is $59,798 $28. So it's a big chunk of money. But as Gordy mentioned, he's been working on this for about 3 months. Our old radios are so old, it's like computers, you know. They can't find replacements. As a matter of fact, I think Ed will tell you last snowstorm, they had to take one out of one of our tractors and put it in one of the trucks. But it's time. And also these come, it's going to be, I think maybe 4, I believe, numbered handheld walkie-talkies. So when the guys are paving and stuff, they can communicate. But what happens is they get out, the crew gets out plowing. And for instance, if somebody's, and you know, our town is so big and hilly and everything else, if somebody gets their beat done, you know, other people say, well, geez, you got cell phones. That's not the idea. You can't call every truck. We got, you know, 20 men working. We get on the radio and say, listen, my beat is done. Anybody need any help? And if somebody's behind, then the truck goes to that location. So this is all about communication and safety and stuff. So I want to thank Mr. Christian for all the work that he's done on this. Nobody likes to spend $60,000 up here, but it's needed sometimes. So, okay.
Need somebody to,
I guess I'll offer.
okay.
You better offer it.
And a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, the foregoing resolution is offered by Councilman Christian and seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Roll call, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballasteri absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Resolution 56, 2021. Resolution amending Resolution number 53 of 2021 and directing seeker lead agency coordination regarding petition and application by CVE North America Incorporated for proposed commercial solar collector system.
Offer it.
I'll second
Resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballasteri absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Foregoing resolution is adopted. And here's the one we had the public hearing about. Resolution 57, 2021. Resolution adopting Town of Brunswick Local Law Number 3 of 2021.
Offer it.
I'll second it.
Resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballasteri absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Just so you know, because we're off just one little bit from last year where a resolution was introduced, but not filed until the following year. We introduced this last one as number 2, but in actuality, upon passage, it becomes number 3. So just in case the numbers are confusing. Okay. That's it.
Okay. Board have any old business? Anybody? Anybody got any new business? Quickly. I just contacted yesterday, which I'm pretty sure the board doesn't even know it yet. Contacted by 3 young ladies who go to Tamarack Girl Scouts looking for a project, and they decided to, after they took a quick look, I think, our dog park down by Keys Lane needs a little TLC. People are using that, but it needs to get, some weeds are starting to grow, so on and so forth. So these young ladies are thrilled, and we're thrilled. I'm thrilled. And part of it is also a responsibility to maybe go ask for some donations from the businesses or whatever. It's a whole project. So young ladies are going to help us. And I'd love to see that dog park get fixed up. So, all right. The other thing just mentioned, I'm sitting here thinking, I did spend an hour at the Reverend's house, Jim's house. He's very, very concerned about these people in need. And he talked to that young lady that was looking for handouts. And she mentioned to him that she had kids home, and she's very, very concerned, I know. Town of Colony was talking about doing an ordinance where no panhandling. I don't think they did that. I think there was concern. And as I mentioned, I don't know how they can do that. I mean, a fireman, some towns stand out in the middle of the road with a boot, so why can't somebody else ask for money, So I don't know how that all works. But Nigro person was telling me that, I don't know if it was the town of Colony or Nigro himself, they had one gentleman that was every weekend at one of their shopping malls asking for money. They hired a private investigator, and he followed that gentleman home. And he went home to a nice house, and they approached him and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I got time, and it pays my cable bill. That's what I'm doing." So you got a little of that, but, and I know Reverend concern, and I'm sitting here thinking, maybe I can make a contact paper up or something, because the county has a lot of programs and phone numbers, and these guys got phone because I've seen them on their phones. And maybe like I can start with that gentleman and just, maybe they don't know who to contact. I don't know. And maybe that's one way I could start doing something and just hand that to them, So it does bother me a little bit after I talk to you. I'm just sitting here tonight trying to think. So might be something we can start. So, all right. Any other new business? Warrants?
I make a motion, we pay our bills.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Further comments from visitors? Anybody have anything? Yep, come on up.
Brief indulgence once more.
Sure.
Not that I'm on a roll.
Well,
Unrelated. So with regard to the next meeting for considering the zoning and density, how would I find out when that's going to be? Would that be posted on your website?
it's going to be a public hearing at some point, right?
I mean, I
Tom?
saw it in the paper for tonight. How would I find out for the next one, for the next hearing?
It's posted on the town's website,
Okay,
and so we publish it in the Record newspaper.
okay. Next thing is, I live on Route 2.
I'll make a note and make sure I call you personally when that public hearing is. I won't. I got a great secretary or administrative assistant. Tracy's good.
Okay, well, thank you for that courtesy. So I live on Route 2, and there's a drainage ditch and tons of weeds. And I know that that's a state road, and it hasn't been cut in a while. So how would I contact them? How would I, light a fire under them to attend to that?
Gordy, you're the road guy.
New York State DOT.
Yeah.
Mr. Bueller's got the address.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got the
Thank you.
address right here.
I'll see you later.
The reason I say Gordy, because usually up to Dewey Del Signor, they come in and stop in the garage quite often, right? So, anybody else? Jen, come on up.
Jennifer Mann, 91 Hill Road. Two things. As Sharon was talking about 9/11, I had a thought about the Hometown Heroes banners. And I feel like there would be nothing more special than having hometown hero banners of people who are living heroes. Is there anybody from Brunswick that you know of who went down to 9/11? I know a friend of mine in Melrose went down, and he has succumbed to some of those health problems over the last 20 years that many people did. And I feel like that is just so heroic that somebody would go down there, rush towards something where, many people died and then have health problems for the next 20 years. A hometown hero banner for that would be amazing. And it seems like a perfect job for Mark Balistreri, because he would know if anybody locally went down there.
I believe people did go down. Firemen went down. So,
Fire companies.
A lot of the state police went down.
So maybe we could do.
state police, so on and so forth. So.
Yeah.
Newsletter next year to.
And it like with this being the 20-year anniversary, that just would speak to people like so deeply, because those really are people who are heroes right among us now. So many of the people up there, it was from the 40s, but this would be right now. So I think that would be lovely. But also, my mind just keeps coming back to the issue of PFOAs in the water. With, Hoosick Falls and Nassau have had problems, and now Algonquin Middle School and Poston Kill Elementary School. And I believe now it's 2 private wells in Poston Kill have been found to have PFOAs in their water. I don't know if other people share my concern with the family. I would be so much more comfortable knowing that we do not have that issue in our wells here in Brunswick, just knowing that spot checks are being done. If it were just a matter of me paying for a test myself, I would gladly do it. I've actually researched it several times. It's next to impossible as a private citizen to get a PFOA test on your well water. So you have to go through a certified lab. I've gone on the internet and spent hours looking for this. I've contacted many labs. They usually say they don't work with private citizens. They are for municipalities only. A couple of them, one's in Michigan, you have to take the water sample to the lab. One is in New Hampshire, you have to take it to the lab. So that's just not really feasible for us here. But I feel like for a town, it would probably be more feasible to you can work with a lot of the more local labs to get that done, or Bill Bradley might know certified labs around here that would do it. And I will talk to him too. I wish he were here. I would love to ask him, but I'll come in soon and find out if there is a way that as a private citizen I could do it. But I think a lot of people would just be glad to know that there's a negative test result, because it's really concerning with all the, many families in Brunswick have well water. So that's a concern.
When you buy a house, you have to check the well, right?
But you don't check for
But you
PFOAs.
don't check for that.
No, and it's actually really hard to find a place that does it. It's pretty new. It tends to be its own panel of checking different tests. It's like 10 different tests for different acids you're looking for. And it is pretty exorbitant. I think it's at least $500 per
Wow.
test, which again, if it were up to me, I would feel that that's worth it just to know that my kids are drinking safe water where we are, but it's just not possible to get it done.
Does that school have wells over there? Wow. Because we got the city of Troy. The people without wells, but
Right.
our school. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else at this point? Jim?
Yeah, runs up that side of the road, number.
Yeah, Jim Tatchik, 387 Brunswick Road. We're still on our quest to go after the speed limit on Route 2. And we're running into some real difficulties here. Mark Balistreri steered me to the FOIL request for the 911 system, okay? And I requested the reports for accidents on Route 2 from 2016 until this past April. Okay? And then, I know there was a rollover accident on Thursday, the 25th of February, on Route 2 by Shine Road. I saw the truck rolled over. I didn't imagine this, okay? It didn't come up. It
Wow.
didn't come up in the search. Also, that I know, I saw the truck, I didn't see the truck go off the road. I saw the truck off the road that almost rear-ended the people going into Engels. I don't know the date of that. It was in the last 2 or 3 years. That didn't come up in the search. There was also a similar accident opposite Eagle Mills Fire Department. The truck, inattentive driver, had to take it off the road. That didn't show up in this, okay? All right. So I'm not sure. I think we have to find a better database. But one thing that did turn up, and I'm going to describe an accident to you, okay? This was on the 7th of October, 2019. A tractor trailer was coming east on Route 2, just past the country club where West Road comes in, right? That gentle curve going around before it comes down the hill. There was a car stopped, waiting to make a left-hand turn into West Road. A tractor trailer said, "Oh my God, there's a car in front of me." He pulled into the oncoming lane, right? And he hit another vehicle, okay? Well, the ironic thing is that there was a tractor trailer going eastbound. There was a tractor trailer going westbound. They ran into each other, but I can't tell who owns them. Okay, because on the accident report, it says INC. That's the only identification. Now, I've looked at other accident reports involved, for example, a Rensselaer County Sheriff, right? When it says name exactly as printed on registration, it says Rensselaer County. There was a Stewart's vehicle that was in an accident. It says Stewart's there, okay? These vehicles, the trucks in that accident, okay, they're owned by the same company, right? They have the same insurance carrier, right? They're on Madison Avenue, 1 Madison Avenue in Troy. Who could that be? Valente? There's no identification of these vehicles. Who owns them? How can that be? When all the other accident reports have a specific name or a business name, right? There's something wrong here. A cynical person would say somebody's running interference for Valente in these reports. Okay, so you just can't get the information. You can't get the information from going through this system. Okay, now what I need to do, and I like to be properly informed on these things. Yeah, I guess I'd like to go see with the state DOT what they have in their system. All right, I've already been to state police. The state police they'll have nothing to do with it. Okay, maybe somebody from the town could get some leverage here. Does the town have a liaison with DOT? I guess that's one of the things I'd like to know. Okay, does our highway superintendent have a connection with state DOT?
Just with a local person for the roads and stuff.
Okay, well then I think we have to go a little bit higher than this.
That gentleman just retired. I don't know who the new one is yet.
But obviously the county, you can't get the information from the county. The county system, it doesn't provide it. Obviously, if you want to look at this.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? There's everything. Sure, it has license plate numbers, it's got VIN numbers, everything on these things, okay? So if you wanted to, I guess, search it out, you could say definitely who it is. But I was talking to someone recently with this thing, and I said Madison Avenue, and they said Valenti's. So I mean, that's easy enough to find out
Yeah.
too, you know? They give, they're two Kenworthy trucks. You know, there aren't that many people around here have Kenworthy trucks,
Yeah.
you know? But it was ironic that the Valente truck ran, well, I can't say Valente, the one truck ran into the other truck as well as into the car.
Wow.
All right. And this I didn't even know this happened. You know, this is all, you know, I guess we don't have a local newspaper that reports
Was
these
that
things.
sheriff or a trooper report?
This is from the county sheriff,
Sheriff.
right?
Hmm.
You see, there's no, I don't know how one gets these from the state, if that's possible. Maybe I'd like somebody from the town to help me out here. I don't know if there's anybody interested in this or not, but this is a real safety issue on Route 2.
Maybe you could call the sheriff and ask him.
So your issue really is, you know, it doesn't matter who was in the accident. The issue is that you know a couple of accidents that aren't reported.
Yeah, I know others besides that also, that from my recollection of things that happened right in front of our house, right, Mary? Right in front of our house. They aren't in the system. Now, I don't think those accidents were covered up, but I don't know, something's happening here that's, I don't know. When it says,
So
this spot right here where it says,
I'm trying to get a larger theoretical issue here. You're trying to build a bigger case for getting the speed limit lower.
yes.
And because you think you're missing a couple accidents, that's going to hurt your case.
Yeah, because if I go to the state and I say, if I go to the state, for example, I could get a hearing with the state, they're going to say, what's your evidence? Well, on such and such a date, on the 25th of February, there was a rollover accident. Prove it. What are you going to do? And then I was trying to find the specific dates for example, the incident, the accident in front of Engels, right? The same thing. And then in front of the fire department, same thing. I can't find the specific date for this. And they're going to say, yeah, this is just bullshit of what they're going to say. All right? So I need some sort of system to do this.
I would think the no local 911 is it. I would think the local 911 system's it.
I would thought so too. But obviously, there's a glaring deficiency here. You know, if it didn't get that rollover accident where they had to get the front end loaders to load that gravel that had been dumped on the road into other trucks, haul it away, get this massive, I don't even know what you call it, tow truck with multiple booms and the like. You know, it was shut down the road for 2 or 3 hours. This is not.
Mark's our 911 guy, so, right, Jim?
Exactly.
Well, he's the one that steered me to this,
Yeah.
to this, to this, you know, system here, but it's obviously not working. But,
Get a hold of
and
him,
I
tell him
guess,
it's not working.
and I guess what I really want to do is find out what's the procedure? Who do you have to go to talk to or to file papers with to get the process rolling for the speed limit? Is there a person you go to? Is there some traffic poobah somewhere that you need to talk to? I need somebody from the town to help me here. I really do. Because I don't know who they are. Because you can't, you know, if I call DOT, I'm not sure. I haven't called them yet, I guess. But I don't think there's much hope for.
Jim, my question is on your accidents here, which I'm very well aware of them because I'm your neighbor.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay. How do you know that it's all speed related?
I don't care if it's speed related or not. Okay.
You know, so many of these things are just, we don't know whether the driver was texting. We don't know the particulars on why these accidents occurred. And I don't know that you can pin it all on speed.
Gordy, I don't think you can resolve speed and reflex and reaction time. Right?
Well,
Excuse me? Tom?
No, I was, no,
I was just asking Tom, speed limits on state roads, that's DOT.
yeah, I mean, the way we do, the way
State
we've done
DOT.
it, we've done it in the past is we passed a resolution and asked them to consider it, but it's up to them. There's some, there's some speed limits that the town is what's called a suburban town that we can do, but we can't touch state speed limits. Only
I understand it's not a
And
town.
what we've done is, like well, you asked what the procedure is. We've
Okay.
sent them a resolution
Okay,
and asked them to consider it. And I don't know, do you remember what you did with them, Bill, where you sent them when we've done that in the past?
Which one?
Well, I don't remember a specific
Okay.
Well,
one.
the only thing, the most recent thing was North Lake Avenue, I believe.
Well, we didn't do that because, well, actually, the county went
Right.
to the state and asked them
Right.
to do something there, and then DOT said, you can't because the town can do it. And we ended up doing it.
okay, well,
Joe, excuse me.
I just have a quick question. Jim, have you spoken to Jake Ashby at all?
I don't know who he is.
Since our assembly.
Oh, no, I haven't.
No.
That's an avenue
Yeah,
for advocacy.
Okay, but let's
I would
do,
suggest that.
all right.
That's all.
yeah, that's a good one.
Let's just, okay, then I'll accept if you people will pass a resolution. To just have a discussion with them about this. I'll buy that.
For the Route 2 and stuff.
Sure, because that's a mile.
You
and a-
buy that, but there's others like Joe's got an excellent idea. He's an assemblyman, it's the state.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I also have well, I'll bring the letter next time, Phil.
I mean,
Remember-
we can do so much,
Yeah.
but you can also contact, the
Okay,
state.
now, I also remember where people went to the representatives before they came here. And you were irritated about somebody with going to, I can't remember, who was the prior lady, who was the senator?
Kathy Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, somebody went to her before they went to you and you're irritated by this.
No, it was a town issue about picking up garbage and they went to this Daphne Jordan. I said,
Oh, well, maybe that was it.
I said, you don't need to go to her. I can get the garbage picked up.
Okay,
But I'm not upset.
well,
My ego's
well,
okay.
if-
You're not gonna hurt
if-
it too much, though.
if you need a resolution to go to the DOT, then I'd like to see the resolution then. Because,
Okay.
this, just a reminder, this is a 1.5 mile section, right? And it goes through, and then, for example, once it goes, hits Eagle Mills, almost all the way out to Grafton, except it's probably a fraction of a mile shy of Grafton, which is more rural. And it's still 45 when it goes up the hill in Grafton, right? There's a lot more houses and there's a lot more traffic coming in and out of Route 2 in that section where it's 55. And there's just no question about that. And then whether it's just plain speed because they're going too fast, or if they're going too fast for the amount of attention they pay. I don't care which one it is, but because they're having accidents. And this is a rehearsal for a calamity. It really is.
Jim, I think you brought this up a few months ago.
I did.
Yeah.
And I think my recollection is that we talked about that. You were going to gather up a lot of information. You were also going to get a petition. And then you were going to give us the information and then we were going to look at it and then the board could consider passing a resolution. So, I don't think this was new tonight. I mean.
No, it's not. But I mean, this is about, I can't.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying
Okay.
that the town has always said that it would be supportive based on information that came in of doing a resolution. I think we did, the last one I can
Yep.
remember was, we requested DOT to do something with the speed limit right in front of Tamarack School. Okay, and
Yep.
I honestly don't remember what they did, but they do answer and they might tell you no, but
Okay. Okay. What do I need to do next? To get the resolution
Well,
rolling?
resolutions if you want me to draw up a resolution, I'm happy to do that, but I've got to have something to put in there. I tell that to everybody all the time. I've got to have stuff to put in there. I can't make it up out of whole cloth. So if you can put together some of your justifications and things and some of the factual data that you've been talking about here when you come to the meetings. I thought that's what you were doing.
I do. I think I've, aside from the specific times of the accidents, I have all this. I have all the other.
So, but I mean, you'd want to like cite a couple of things, a couple of accidents and things like that. So, I mean, if you can get me some data, I can get working on it.
Mhm.
And you also talked about doing a petition. You could attach a petition to it. I'm not saying that's necessary or required, but that you brought that up months ago when we first talked about it.
Mhm. Okay. So, all right. So
Okay?
we'll get together. I'll be back. All right. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else at this point? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting in memory of those who lost their lives or were injured during a terrorist attack on September 11th, 2001, and their loved ones. May we never forget. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Steve, that we're very. Yeah. House is off.